Bitcoin is following our preferred pathway exactly what makes sense. It's going. We haven't updated anything on here in a while. Nothing because we just don't have to. Things are following our plan. Things are evolving as we are expecting it to, most realistically, understanding that we're still in a bear market. Same thing with Mara stock. Mara stock is not showing anything out of the ordinary, nothing that we didn't expect and we prepared for. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean right now in a moment and a lot of extra other stuff. But first off, it has been a while. I want to share with you guys real quick my first road trip in that Corvette that we got in on this channel last year. Just a little bit of fun road tripping, really something I want to do for a while. And then besides that, a lot of other things I'm working on. And especially one of them is going to be the Dead Trees sort of songs or tracks that we want to drop on the channel and use them for the channel as well. This is going through a big change. I finally have someone helping me out with creating these tunes. It's just gonna, now that we're pretty much scrapping everything, we're gonna do a new name change, and we're actually going to finally start creating some good beats, good rhythm, and then drop in some lyrics in there as well. So that's gonna be really interesting. A little bit of a fun side project, and then just some other stuff. One of them also being those notes I talked about previously, especially on those live streams that we did like a month and a half ago or so. Those notes are really messy. Here's like two screenshots for the S&P notes and the Bitcoin notes for trading, how I approach it. Again, super messy, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just do a copy and paste onto the website. I'll let you guys know in Discord when that's up. And it's going to go through a lot of changes as well. But instead of waiting to make it perfect, I'm going to give you guys the messy notes. It might not make a lot of sense, but these notes have helped me out a lot personally with my trading journey. So I'm just going to drop those on there, and then I'm going to date them and then do updates on them over time to make them cleaner, better understanding, and add even more on there as well. So that's something I'm going to just try to focus on real soon to put on there for you guys to actually be able to check out. But yeah, besides that, things are looking really good. When it comes to Mars stock, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about a trade I'm actually in the middle of with Apple stock. I talked about that on the Discord a little bit. There's a lot of stuff I kind of been trying to back test as well, including those notes on there. I've been back testing to see if they're still up to date. And they are. So I'm very excited about that as well. But when it comes to Mara stock, then we're going to jump into Bitcoin. We're going to jump into the actually the S&P. There's just not really a whole lot to talk about. I've been using this, and if you guys remember last year before the year end that I said most likely 2026, I'm dead set that for the S&P it's going to be my core position for 2026, and that's been playing out very, very nicely. Although, as you guys can see, I'm still tracking a bit more upside, but there's some short-term weakness I want to keep an eye on. So I'm kind of out when it comes to real short-term trades on this. We're already close enough towards the end of the year where a lot of this has been reduced. A lot of these shares have been sold off. I've been mainly using VOO. But yeah, we're up in the green, just like in Bitcoin. Before we jump into Mara stock, I just want to get this out the way. Just like in Mara stock, when we had the price target for the year, in this case, it was 114.6K or 114.5K. The majority of those shares have been sold off for IBIT, and in perfect timing. I mean, we ended up going down a lot of covered calls after that, which I'm going to get into right now as well, because we broke and we're finally entering this area. We get into that moment. So just like with, just like in Bitcoin with the S&P, we are within this zone. I am mostly out of it, and I'm looking for now a reset. Although I'm gonna get into some core positions later this year of my 2027 core positions, but those are looking really good as well. And then for Apple stock, I'll get that in the end of the video because it's not really crypto related. But when it comes to Mara stock, yeah, it's been a while. I feel super messy. I've just been mostly taking care of other stuff and chilling. But yeah, when it comes to Mara, and I told you guys this in previous videos, I talked about it on the Discord recently as well. I'm still looking for 3 to 5 for the low, around 5 being like an ideal low, because then anything below 5 will get quickly recovered from very fast. At least in my opinion, there's a lot of if you guys look at their quarterly reports, their monthly reports, all of these publicly available documents, we know that, well, before we jump into it, we know that, okay, um the Mara stock, the company behind it, Marathon Holdings, is investing very, very heavily into future tech to make sure that they are well positioned for the future. This is, of course, going to cause a lot of capital being, instead of that being heavily invested into purely more GPUs, or when it comes to purely investing that into more Bitcoin holdings so they can have more equity in the crypto that they're mostly focused on. This is, of course, going to affect that. And they're also issuing more shares. They've been doing a really, really good job at managing debt. They're constantly expanding a lot of partnerships. So they are really trying to set up for the future. That's going to cause a lot of hurt in the short term. I believe so. Remember, everything I say in this video is all just my own personal opinion, but these are things I'm picking up from their public reports available to all of us, investor relations stuff, and then what the price is telling us as well. So right now, we understand that, yeah, there's a lot of dilution going on. This is for future growth expectations, a lot of short-term weakness. So I'm expecting previous lows, like back here we saw, $3 being tested back here before we saw the bull market really pick this up. A lot of influence. Then eventually we saw, sub $1 levels. All of this can still happen if they continue to be very, very aggressive, at least in my opinion, with their, their growth expectations for the future. More money into these investments, and I think they're also involving themselves in some AI stuff that can help out the company. So I'm expecting more prices, or more lower prices, to reflect a lot of the spending in the short term and share dilution, instead of going into debt, issuing more shares. Better for the company, not great for the shareholder. Perfect for trading if you understand these value levels and how low they can bring us. Just based on that, it's like a numbers game for the most part when it comes to the company right now and sustainability. So with that being said, I know that when it comes to Bitcoin, I'm still tracking, and I'm going to get this one out the way. My target, or my plan, and it has been my plan for a while. This has not changed. I have not changed these levels since I first published them on this channel. But bear market low, it's my plan. It's going to be between, I'm going to say 50,000, even though it comes up to 52.2. But really, it's 50,000 all the way down to 25,000. 35 being the solid area, 35 to 40K being my solid price area. This is based off of, early large fluctuations, showing how aggressively these sell-offs can look like. I mean, I talked about this in the past. I'm not going to get into it too much. Don't worry about all these notes. Those are in the past. The last 2.5 years, trading Bitcoin and following has been amazing. I've been extremely thankful with the progress we made so far, actually managing these this specific accent, these ways that I'm approaching it with fib extensions and retracements. But right now, I am still focused on covered calls. None of these covered calls will ever exceed 50% of the overall IBIT equity that I own. At the same time, though, for the long-term ones, but at the same time, as of right now, I am no more than 5% covered calls for the overall equity. So I'm very, very light with covered calls. I reduce these the more we go down into this bear market, the lower we go, based on purely a percentage level. I'm always, as of right now, expecting Bitcoin to fall down well over 50%, 70, 80% is what I'm looking for. Mostly 70%. It's going to be, just almost 55% low. So as we go further down, every 10% down, I am reducing the amount of covered call exposure I have, but still keeping those premiums 1 to 2 month out expirations, so I can collect good premium, and start continue to reset and cycle these covered calls. It's quite simple, and there's like nothing complicated about that in my opinion. Every strike price within these covered calls are going to be quite conservative when it comes to, they are not going to be close at all to the current price at the start or the end of the month when I go ahead and sell those covered calls. They're going to be quite far out where it's not realistic, and I am in no danger of them expiring within the money and then me having to have the shares called out. That's not going to happen. But as of right now, yeah, less than 5% in covered calls, and I plan to sell more of them real soon. So I have a few right now that expire out between October and December. I'm expecting October to December, this pump up will just be corrective, and then we'll finally come down into this area. I believe it's still too early in the bear market. Percentage, just based alone on my expectation that we can go well over 50%, 70% ideally. Yeah, I'm in no rush, and I'm keeping those covered calls again light. I am in no means over leveraged. But yeah, when it comes to the rest of that equity, I've been averaging in DCAing. Why will we not DCA in a bear market, right? So I've been DCAing Bitcoin, letting the price do its thing, accumulating. Right now, I think my average price is like for IBIT is like 40, 40 something cents. So I mean, I'm well into the green, but I'm expecting that to come back down. I'm not gonna be reducing any. I'm not gonna be selling off any shares, reducing position, because again, I don't want to do that, especially when I believe in the future. I mean, for my the next bull run, I'm expecting us to potentially hit 200K, um, within, like, I don't know, what is, like, roughly 2 years from now. So I'm very excited for that. Although again, this is all based off of the potential of the low being down here, and that would also respect a long-term support line. It just lines up really nicely. Percentage wise, everything looks great. There's a lot of optimistic catalysts that have been coming out recently. So now I'm going to be selling more covered calls up here, and I'm going to continue to do so at these 0.35, 0.5, 0.618, so 81.8K, 92.2K, and then 100K, with the ideas that, I'm going to let these continue to expire and collect those premiums on the way down. Regardless, what this means is that not because of Bitcoin price, we're seeing a little bit of pump in Mara. It's mostly due to these optimistic catalysts and a lot of money flowing to a lot. I mean, if you guys look at a lot of other cryptos, and I think Sol has been like ripping it as well. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this short-term bullish money is going to get wiped out real soon, just based on my own experience. I'm expecting just lower prices and an aggressive sell-off in Bitcoin, and then everyone's going to wonder, this pump we're seeing is just going to disappear, and everyone's going to like forget about it, and then everyone's going to be like super dark cloudy, dark cloud when they're looking at, Bitcoin price, for example, in Mars stock. But that's exactly what we're expecting, right? So before I stop posting videos, because I mean, I'm just going to be repeating myself every time I make a video. It's just repeating myself. You guys already know. The idea is that I kept saying anything, $15. I said the moment we hit $15, like, I'm looking at covered calls, I'm looking at shorts. Covered calls if you're planning to hold Mars stock forever, but yeah, shorts. I kept saying shorts, $15, shorts, selling them at 12, and then finish selling them off at within this level down here. The moment we break below the 0.618, I am looking for lower prices. So what this means is that so we had 2 opportunities, actually 3, because we had one right here. 3 opportunities to accumulate shorts at $15, exactly the price that I said in previous videos. It's recorded, it's on there. You guys can go back if you want to, but it's there. And then I kept saying I want to start selling them off 12.5, so the $12.50 line. The majority of those shorts should be sold off due to risk management. Make sure you're not over leveraged after the price already came down, and we're discounted on the RSI without, and then as you can see, it never showed aggressive downturn moment. There's no strong momentum to the downside. So therefore, we want to reduce reduce any shorts that we have there, lock in profits at 12.5. At this point, we finally broke below the 0.618 line, which is it comes out to like $9.9. I don't know, like $10 basically. So now what we're looking at is a retracement higher. So it's simple. Everything I do, I've been doing this since the start of this channel. I am going to be purely focused on simple retracements, considering the overall move. Elliott waves, great factor. I believe Elliott waves work really nicely in Mars stock. But regardless, this zone is a danger zone, potential opportunity for new shorts. But this is where I do not want to be. I personally do not want to be over leveraged to the long side. I don't want to be opening any longs, especially entering this zone right here. We're above the 120 moving average. On these daily candles, I am not. This is not attractive for longs, in my opinion, especially when the momentum is downward. We're still seeing that, at this point, Bitcoin is quite overextended. It's looking for retracement. This zone right here, the way it works for me, this is not going to correlate with Mara stock specifically, but this, even though it touched it right here, this has been updated. As you guys remember from previous videos, we had an opportunity. This one was solid because it actually broke into it, but I've been slowly moving down this blue retracement as the price comes down lower, and it has not moved since the last video. The point of this is that when we finally break into the zone, this is where I'm looking at to sell new covered calls again, October to December expiration date, and the actual strike prices are going to be within this zone as well, because I do not expect Bitcoin to hold these levels at the end of the year. That's usually when I'm expecting this bear market to end, somewhere between October and December. So any strikes within this area expiring around the time I just mentioned, I believe will be lower. I believe we're good. And even if I do get the calls or the shares called out, they're pretty much flat when it comes to the equalness of the covered calls where the strike is, and I'll still be very much in the profit. If those shares do get called out, I'm still making profit on them, and I'm still keeping the premium. I mean, there's plenty of good there, especially even if I were to sell more at the 81.8 and 92.2 K levels, I'll still be within 10% of my overall the equity I have on IBIT. It'll still be within that 10% exposure for covered calls. I am in no means really sacrificing much of these longs doing so and collecting a nice profit if they do get caught out. If not, we keep them. We keep the profit as the premium, and we continue forward. And I mean, that's just more money in our pocket, right? In my pocket, at least. And then from there, this is where I'm looking to finish accumulating for the next bull market, and then we go up higher from there. Enough of Bitcoin. The thing is, this is quite simple. I don't think I made this too complicated. I'm trying to keep this video below 20 minutes. It's simple, right? We have the price going up into this zone. This is a danger zone. This was the reversal zone. This is going to be, so this doesn't matter anymore. We broke below $10. So now I'm looking at a retracement. So the price anywhere within the zone, and it can happen as soon as this next trading week, I am looking for prices to fall down and begin a new descent lower. And then this is the bottom, or at least my estimated bottom. I mean, it's as simple as that, guys. I'll probably do another video just to clean it up. I feel like this one I was a little bit jumping all over the place. And kind of like being a little bit messy. It's been a while. I don't know. I feel kind of rusty making these videos, but yeah, we had a really nice, perfect $15 shorting opportunity. 3 opportunities. You can say 2. This was pretty fast right here. 2 opportunities. Perfect. 12.5 TP with, if you missed out on that, you had an opportunity right here. It's fine. But we broke below $10. So now a reversal is, at least based on the value and investor sentiment that you see here. Instead of me looking for 15 again, I'm not looking for 15. Instead, I'm looking for weakness within the zone right here. So instead of just taking shorts right there, or at least being aggressive with shorts, there's an opportunity where we can consider where the RSI looks like within that zone. So we still have a little bit more room to go. But if we were for example, if we were to, I'm going to delete this in a moment, but if we were to come down now and find support within, this area and try to push up higher, if that happens, what I'm going to do, and I'm saying this now so then it's not a surprise later on, if that was the case and we found support, let's just say hypothetically $10.30, then at that point, yeah, I'm looking at another test of 15 if that's the case. But until that happens, if that happens, what I'm looking for right now is some weakness within this area. We'll keep a close eye on any potential support coming up soon. If that support gets broken, then I'm expecting this swing low to get broken, and then we can have some fluctuation down, and then potentially break $7. But yeah, regardless, I'm looking for lower prices throughout the next few months. Really nice shorting opportunity that we can now look for another one. But as of right now, it's a little hazy. I'm looking to see if this is going to hold or not. I don't think it will. I think we're going to get rejected, and then we can actually start moving down sooner rather than later. And then same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is at a point where I believe we're going to reverse down real soon. If we go into this area, I'm selling covered calls. If not, and we end up just going down and actually revisiting this low, or even going down finally into this bear market low zone, then cool. I have some covered calls that are already waiting for that to happen regardless. And again, if they don't, the strikes are still going to provide some really good profit, because I do have a quite a low how do you say cost average cost, or average price per share for IBIT. I'll be good in either scenario. It's just patience at this point. But I have been trading Apple stock. When I saw this big gap down, I just saw it break below the, there's a lot of strong momentum. Just a bad outlook on their report, on their last quarterly report, when their numbers are just solid. They're solid, and they're like working on some new products. I'm like, you know what? The price is below the 50 on the RSI on the daily candles. I started accumulating, and I talked about that on Discord. And when we pumped up and we broke over the 50 once again, I sold 50% of those longs, and I'm just holding on to the other half. I'm just holding on to it at the moment. If we break down lower and actually get to the 120 moving average, I'll add the rest of the 50% of the principal I took out. I'll hold on to the profit, add the rest of the 50% principal back into the trade, lower the cost basis even more. I think right now it's like a 306, and then I can lower that more. But instead, if it decides to just hold a little bit of a smaller structure, higher low, and go up higher and actually fill the rest of this value gap, potentially even 330, 325, then I'll sell the rest of it. I'm cool with that. But yeah, a nice little profit on Apple, but I'm still holding on to 50% of the equity because I want to see how this plays out. But yeah, I think I'm really well set off for this, really good positioned. I'm gonna make another video soon just to clean this up, make it shorter, summarize everything I just said. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed.